We're in the section of 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, and there are some stories there that are not as well known. Like if you wanted to have a trivia show, or you wanted to get some Bible questions that you could stump someone that really knows their Bible, or you could go to this section and you could find some stuff that there are very few people that would remember the facts in some of this. But this morning is not one of those stories. Because this morning, David is going to face a giant. And it's one of the most famous stories in the Bible, one of the most beloved stories in the Bible. It's an idea of this guy, the underdog, facing the giant and prevailing that is popular in culture. But we're going to dig into this chapter, and we're going to see what God has put here for us, because he has put some amazing things. So I'm going to start reading, because I'm going to add a lot of things, a lot of context as we read. So 1 Samuel 17, chapter 1. Now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Saul. And Saul, you should know, means either thorn bush or the thorny place. You could think of it like, I'm trying to think somewhere around here, a field over here somewhere that's been allowed to grow up, and it's lots of bushes, thick bushes and thorn bushes. All right, that's Saul. So this is the name of the place in Judah, and they pitched camp at Ephes Dammim. Now, Ephes Dammim means the place of no bloodshed. That's interesting because they're gathered up for war here. This is between Saul and Azekah. Now, Azekah means tilled soil. Okay, so this is soil that's been broken up and it's ready to plant. And Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the valley of Elah. Now, an Elah is a type of terebinth tree, a very valuable, very beautiful tree out here in the desert. So, if you've been keeping track, we've had a thorn bush, we've had tilled soil, and we've had a very valuable tree so far. And they drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. And the Philistines occupied one hill, and the Israelites another, with the valley between them. A champion, this interesting word, champion, it means the man in between. Now there are a lot of words that they have a literal meaning, like if you looked at what the word means, but then it becomes to mean something else. So it becomes to mean this word champion, and he's your best fighter, right? And especially in this context, he's been set out in the front. He's literally in between the armies, and you can see how they would get this meaning, but the word means champion. They use it to mean champion, but it means the man in between. Named Goliath, who was from Gath, and he came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. And his shield bearer went ahead of him. Now, there's some things that would be easy for us to miss here. Now, last week, Saul went to fight someone, and it's his first battle. And who did he go to fight?
I thought that too, didn't I?
That was you, yeah.
That was me.
That was you.
Okay, I got it.
And his name means snake.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
What was his name besides Snake? Anak, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah.
I believe it's in
Nahash, the Ammonite.
Nahash the Ammonite. Now, the word for bronze, I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I don't have it in front of me, but it sounds a lot like Nahash because it's the same letters are used in the word bronze as in the word snake. And if you'll notice that his armor is described as being scaly. His scaly armor made out of this stuff that's very similar to the word snake. And he has a lot of sixes. If you'll notice, his height has a 6 in there. The weight of the iron point on his spear has a 6 in there. And there are actually 6 things that are noted about his equipment, if you would count them up. Elsewhere, we're going to find out about Goliath's brothers. There's going to be a chapter later where it's like everybody gets a shot at these giants. But we find out that they have 6 fingers and 6 toes. Is something that's interesting about them. So we got 6s all over the place. We've got this guy wearing scaly armor that's made out of this stuff that kind of would call to your mind a snake. They've met in this place where there's thorn bushes and tilled soil and this special tree. And I hope you've caught on at this point. What kind of story do we have here? This looks a lot like the Garden of Eden, right? Where the thorn bush, and that part might be easy for us to miss, because when they're cast out, they go out into the wilderness where the soil is going to produce thorns and thistles. That's where Adam and Eve get sent to. And also, what do they have to do there? They got to till the soil to get their food. But they came from the place where there was a special tree in the Valley of Elah. And there was something in between them. They had a choice to make. And this animal that kind of represented that choice, who's posing the question to them of what are you going to do? It was an animal, he's a snake. And so the Bible has set this story up exactly like that. And it's going to retell it. So I'm going to keep reading. It's a long chapter, but I think it will do us well to read it. And Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me." Choose a man. Who? Who over there is going to come down? It begs the question, who? Who should it be that would come down? And Goliath is saying, choose somebody. Have him come down. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us. Then the Philistine said, "This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. Who's the man that should be going down there? Saul, but he's terrified.
He stands heads above the rest.
Head and shoulder. Yeah, I mean, it's the defining factor of this guy, Goliath. He's a giant. He's tall. What's the defining factor of Saul? There's several. He's a donkey herder and things, but the physical thing that sets him apart, he's very tall. Head and shoulders. That's not just, but that's a lot taller than everybody else. Now, David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and in Saul's time he was very old. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to the war. The firstborn was Eliab, the second Abinadab, and the third Shammah. David was the youngest. The 3 oldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. Why is David going back and forth? Because he is in Saul's service. Now, we haven't went through this, but David, he's already been, has he been anointed yet?
I think
Yes.
Yes.
In chapter 16, he is anointed by Samuel, and the evil spirit has come to torment Saul, and somebody says, "Hey, I know a guy who can play some good music. Why don't we have him come?" And it turns out that guy is David. And so David is already in Saul's service. We find out here that he's going back and forth. He doesn't stay there with Saul all the time. He's part-time shepherd with his father's sheep, and he's part-time in Saul's service as this musician that helps calm him from this spirit that's tormenting him. For 40 days, the Philistine came forward every morning and evening and took his stand. When there's a number, it's important. What does 40 tell us?
It's how many nights it rained.
It's how many nights it rained?
40 days in the wilderness.
40 years in the wilderness.
Yeah.
It is a time.
40 days for Jesus.
Yeah.
40 days in the wilderness for Jesus. 40 years in the wilderness for the Israelites. Over and over, it is a time of testing. My favorite joke I ever told, no one ever got. Back when we had VBS, there was a day that we had watermelon and Chick-fil-A nuggets. And I came to John's and I said, John's, when I ate watermelon like any good Israelites, I had 7 pieces of watermelon. But when it came to the nuggets, it was a time of testing. And I did. I ate 40 nuggets. We had too many nuggets, and I did my part. It was a test to see if I could do my part to show that we didn't have too many nuggets, and I passed.
Oh, did you?
I passed. Yes.
Were those nuggets scaly?
So anyway, 40 days, time of testing. Well, the question is, who is being tested here? I'll just leave that out there. If you go, who would be tested here? Okay. Now Jesse said to his son David, "Take this ephah of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread for your brothers and hurry to their camp. Take along these 10 cheeses to the commander of their unit. See how your brothers are and bring back some assurance from them. They are with Saul and all the men of Israel in the valley of Elah, fighting against the Philistines." Early in the morning, David left the flock in the care of a shepherd, loaded up and set out as Jesse had directed.
That's familiar too. The brother going to check on brothers.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get to something down here, something else that I think's related to that. But yeah, who's the brother who went to check on his other 10 brothers? 10? 10 cheeses, 10 loaves of bread. Now, he's only got 3 brothers he's going to check on, but this is reminding us of Joseph. Good point. So he reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle position, shouting the war cry. And Israel and the Philistines were drawing up their lines facing each other. And David left his things with the keeper of supplies and ran to the battle lines and asked his brothers how they were. As he was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance. And David heard it. Whenever the Israelites saw the man, they all fled from him in great fear. And it seems at this point David's just watching this. At this point, he's just now figuring out what's been going on. Now the Israelites had been saying, "Do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his family from taxes in Israel." And David asked the men standing near him, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" Now, I love this, and I also have a question of exactly what he's doing. If you notice, in verse 25, it tells us what's going to be done for the man. He's going to get great wealth. He's going to get the king's daughter, and his family will be exempted from taxes. Those are the 3 things. It says, now the Israelites had been saying. They had been saying this. And now David comes along, and he asks the men standing near him, what's going to be done for the person who defeats Goliath, right? Now, why would he do that? I'm going to pose that question. Why do you all think he would do that? I got 2 things in mind. I'm curious what you all think.
One possibility, since he's been shepherding and not there, this is the first day that he's been on the scene, correct? So
Yes.
He may not have heard of that.
Now, okay, so
There's a possibility David hadn't heard what the king would offer.
Right. There's a possibility, and so he's just asking because he's curious, because he wants to
Right.
know what's going to happen. That's certainly a possibility. Any others?
It's kind of how I read it too. I just assume, you go in assuming that, okay, he hadn't heard anything yet.
He hadn't heard yet. I think he's got something in mind. And if he had something in mind other than just curious, I want to know, because he could show up and be like, I see him. I'm thinking like, maybe I could go out there, but what's in it for me? What would I get if I went out there? I think he's got, and that I guess that relates to one of the ideas that I have. He's thinking like, I think I can go take this guy, but I want to make sure that it's established what you all are going to do for me
Well,
if I go and take this guy.
He already knows he's king. Like, he's already been anointed too. So that's got to play into his mind too. Here I am. I'm already a king. And nobody, well, I don't know if his brothers know it at this point or not. But
Yeah, that's a bit unclear.
this could be his establishing point of his kingship.
Yeah.
So
Let me tell you what I think it is, though. Let me tell you what I think it is. Suppose he's come out here, he's just realized what's going on, and he doesn't have it in his mind yet that he's going to do this. But he's thinking, like, this isn't right. Somebody's got to go and take this guy down. Now, how would you do that? Would you walk over to somebody and just be like, hey, why don't you go out there? Come on. Go. Get going. Or would you come over and you'd be like, man, the guy that takes him down, he's going to get great wealth. He's going to marry the king's daughter. His family will love him forever because they're going to be exempted from taxes. They're going to have status. I mean, whew, man, the guy that takes him down, he's going to be something. And I think he's trying to get somebody to go do something. That is how I read it. But there are multiple ways you can take this. But let's keep going. And they repeated to him what they had been saying and told him, this is what will be done for the man who kills him. When Eliab, David's older brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger at him and asked, why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle. Now what have I done? Said David. Can't I even speak? Then he turned away to someone else and brought up the same matter, and the men answered him as before. What David said was overheard and reported to Saul, and Saul sent for him. Now, part of the reason I think he's trying to get somebody to do this is he goes over to this group of guys and he's like, hey guys, here's what's going to be done for the guy that kills him. Nobody? Oh. Hey guys, here's what's going to be done for the for the man that kills him. Nobody? Hey guys, he's going around trying to drum up something. It's not happening. Word gets back to Saul. Saul sends for him. David said to Saul, let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him. And so it seems to me that it's at the point when he realized nobody else is doing anything. I will do something. And Saul replied, you're not able to go out against the Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth. But David said to Saul, your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Now, the thing about this that's so easy for us to miss, and I remember hearing about this from when I was a little child, oh, David, man, David was a shepherd. David killed lions. David kills bears. But remember, who is being tested here? Saul is being tested. And when David comes to talk to him, he says, your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. It's the first thing he says. I've been keeping my father's sheep. And the question that's laden in there, what are you doing, Saul? Aren't you the shepherd of Israel? What does a shepherd do? And notice that he doesn't say that, like, what a shepherd does is that he goes out and kills the lion and the bear. What a shepherd does, he goes and he rescues the sheep. And if the lion or the bear turns on him, then I killed the lion or bear. David didn't go out to kill the lion or the bear. He went out because his job is to take care of the sheep. Which is exactly what Saul's job is. What are you doing, Saul? Are you shepherding Israel? What have you been doing for 40 days, Saul? Not what he's supposed to be doing. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them because he has defied the armies of the living God. We see what's in David's mind right now. What is he upset about? This guy, he's defied the armies of God. He's defied God. We can't let that happen. So Saul said to David, go, and the Lord be with you. Then Saul dressed David in his own tunic, put a coat of armor on him, and a bronze helmet on his head. A bronze helmet on his head. Remember what bronze sounds like? And David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to them. I cannot go in these. I'm not going in the bronze, Saul, because I am not used to them. So he took them off. Then he took his staff in his hand. What does that remind you of? Somebody's going out with a staff to do battle. Who goes out with a staff to do battle? Shepherd. Moses. Moses goes out with a staff to do battle. And chose 5 smooth stones from the stream. Well, this is a good question. Number 5. Why is there 5 here? Heard 2 different things on this. Told you that later, like, everybody's going to get some taking out David or Goliath's brothers. It turns out he's got 4 brothers, which means how many giants are there in the land? There are 5 giants in the Philistine land. But with this allusion to Moses, we got Moses and his staff. And David chooses the number 5 that I'm going to battle with. What is the significance of 5 to them, especially with Moses? What did Moses write? The Torah, which consists of how many books? 5 books. Of course 5 is the number of stones he's going to get, whether he needs 1 or however many he needs. He put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hand approached the Philistine. A sling? Now it turns out, like, sling, that's a pretty good thing to pick. Like, I think it's pretty good that he didn't go with a sword. And he's like, well, I'm just going to overpower Goliath. Maybe I can stand back here and I can shoot him. It seems like a good idea, right? But this sling has come up before.
There were a lot of them.
There were 700 of them.
Left-handed.
Left-handed. From the tribe of Benjamin. Saul is from the tribe of Benjamin. The author is telling us who's supposed to be going down there? Who's the shepherd of Israel? Who was from the tribe that's known for using the sling? Can sling a stone at a hair and not miss, it was said about them. He's not going down there. David said, well, I'll take the thing that you're supposed to be known for and go down there. And meanwhile, the Philistine with his shield bearer in front of him kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. All right, so here's this other part. Who was handsome? Well, was Saul handsome?
I think
Interesting. He might have been. He was handsome. Somebody else was handsome though. Somebody before Saul was
Joseph.
handsome. Joseph was handsome. But also we have this glowing with health, and the word means ruddy. What does the word ruddy mean? Red. And this word's not used very many times at all. If I remember, it was like 4, and it's used to describe Esau. Now, that's an interesting thing to think about.
And I don't know if it was you who taught on, because at one time he took 5. He just didn't take one stone, because God, this is something He's going to go do it, whether He hits or misses. He's going to do it.
Yeah.
So if he misses with the first one, he's going to throw a second. So, it wasn't that he knew that he was going to go down and strike this giant with a single stone. He took, because, I'm going to go do something no matter if I hit him or not. I'm going.
Yeah.
This is not. So I don't remember if that was you that may have said that at one time.
I have said that. I have said that before. And like when I go hunting, in theory, how many bullets do you need? One. Do I take one?
No.
I've needed more than one. I tell you what though, I've never needed more than 2, because you're not going to get a chance to use more than 2. I've never needed more than 2. And I've never had a chance to use more than 2 either. But I take a couple extra. And so, you might be thinking like, well, they'd be like, well, I probably get one. I can get 1 off. I can get 2. I might get the 3rd. But that's all the chances you're getting with a sling. But I'll take 5. Just to be safe. That'd be another way of looking at this. But yeah. All right. So he's compared to Esau. He's compared to Joseph here. And he said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" Now, why does he say with the stick? Like, Goliath is offended. The thing that he can see, maybe he can't see the sling because it's a piece of leather, right? That maybe is in his pocket or a pouch or something. He sees him coming with a staff. That's what he sees. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. "Come here," he said, "and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." And David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." I'll tell you what this reminds me of. It reminds me of Hannah's song. I told you that both of these books would be about Hannah's song. And what did she say? The bows of the warriors are broken, but the weak are made strong. And David, it's not the might that determines the battle, it is the Lord that determines who wins. And what is David saying here? You got the weapons, you got the might, I got the Lord. And guess who's going to win? "This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands. I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This day I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. And all those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and He will give all of you into our hands." This is exactly what Hannah says. And as the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag, taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead, and the stone sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. What has he done to the snake? He has crushed his head. And the snake falls face down into the ground, which means that, what? It means his belly is on the ground. And his face is in the dust. Does that sound like anything from Genesis 3:15? Sounds exactly like that. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, and without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and killed him. And David ran and stood over him. He took hold of the Philistine's sword and drew it from the sheath. After he killed him, I think he's making the point he's already dead, he cut off his head with the sword. All right, I have a question for you. Did David fulfill Genesis 3:15? I was reading a commentary, and it said this, that it's pointing out all of these things, the snake, how Goliath's snake, how David crushes his head. And it said, this is a partial fulfillment of Genesis 3:15. I thought, that's an odd thing to say, a partial fulfillment. Especially since the story has worked so hard to set this up as that story. Now, when Saul fights Nakash, I think it is, it does very little. I mean, it uses this word snake, but there's not much else there to compare it to the story. It doesn't even say that he fights him. It doesn't say that he kills him. That's one of the questions. We don't know whether he's dead, whether he gets killed later. All we know is that, well, there's a snake who's defying Israel. There's a few other things. There's the sight because he wants to pluck out the eye. But Saul prevails against him. This is doing a lot. I mean, so much in here to link these two stories. And then he crushes his head. And have you ever killed a snake and been like, I don't know if he's dead yet? Because they wiggle a lot. I actually, every single snake I've killed, I'm like, I don't know if he's dead yet. So how do you be sure? You cut off his head. And, there's nothing partial about that. It's like he killed him, he crushed his head, and then he cut off his head just to make sure. So I saw you shaking your head. Why would you shake your head? Why?
Because he doesn't strike the heel.
Interesting. He would strike his heel. I mean, he's defeated Saul in a way.
Right.
He's defeated Saul.
So
he doesn't strike.
So you're saying maybe that Israel as a whole, Saul has already struck at the heel.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
Now, I'll tell you why I think the author of this commentary said that. He said it because, because Jesus is the one that fulfills this. Right? Jesus, we know that Jesus is the one that fulfills that prophecy, so it can't be David. It can't be David that fulfills that prophecy. And yet it's right here. It's in black and white. This is undeniable that this is what David has done. And he's not the only one. Jael does the same thing. Saul has done the same thing. Over and over again, we're going to see people that crush the head of the snake. And so to me, it begs this question of, what is that prophecy? Is that prophecy... Well, let me step back. Where did we get the idea that prophecy has to have one fulfillment in the first place? Where did that come from? Does the Bible say that, here's this prophecy, it's got one fulfillment. There'll only be one. The Bible doesn't say that. In fact, it puts it in this list of stuff that are generalities about people. God tells the snake, you're going to crawl on your belly. You're going to eat dust. He tells the woman, you're going to have pains in childbirth. Who fulfills that? Every single woman that has a child fulfills that. He tells the man, you're going to eat by the sweat of your brow. You're going to have to till the soil. Who fulfills that? Every man fulfills that. All of these are generalities. And then we have this one that says, your seed and the seed of the woman and the snake, there's going to be enmity between them. You're going to bruise his heel, and he's going to crush your head. We're like, oh no, that's only about one thing. It's only about Jesus. Even though the Bible makes it clear that other people are going to do this, what if that is a generality about mankind, the same way that all of the other things it's with are generalities about mankind? Because that's what it seems to be suggesting to me. We're out of time. I'm going to leave you to wrestle with that. I'm going to say this. I'm not saying that it's not about Jesus, because Jesus is the ultimate snake crusher. Absolutely. Ultimate in both he's the best and he will be the last. We find that in Revelation. But he's not the only one. And we have just enough time to do this. He's not the only one, because there's a verse in Romans that tells us who else does it. And I hope that you will help me by singing this with me. Romans 16:19 says, Romans 16:19 says, be excellent at what is good, be innocent of evil. Be excellent at what is good, be innocent of evil. And the God of peace will soon crush Satan. Yes, God will crush him. Where?
Underneath your feet.
Whose feet?
Ours.
Your feet is who Paul says that God will crush Satan underneath your feet.